expect?
Is organized by the U.S. Representative Office of the National Council of Resistance of Iran, the largest Iranian opposition coalition. More than 1,000, as you mentioned, Iranian expats, prominent experts on Iran, on science, women, youth, are holding this event to support the 10-point plan for a free Iran introduced by the Council's President-elect, Mrs. Maryam Rajavi. We are here to let the world know, really, and policymakers know, that the people of Iran have an alternative for a democratic, free republic in Iran. And what we need from the free world is moral and political support, particularly from the United States.
And you have been one of the leading voices calling attention to human rights abuses inside Iran. What is the most urgent issue that you believe the U.S. public needs to understand right now?
Well, the regime in Iran is remaining in power through fear. Iran executes more of its people per capita, roughly 3 people every day, 3 to 4 people every day. It has killed roughly 2,000 people over the past 12 months to remain in power. The international community has been working very hard to hold the regime accountable, but at the same time, it has tried to make deals with the regime in the hopes that they can change the regime's behavior. We have gathered here today, the NCRI and our voice collectively to lend to Mrs. Rajavi's plan for a future of Iran, is to say that these people are not reformable. The only way is to democratically overthrow this regime, to bring peace to the Middle East, and stop the execution and persecution of the people of Iran and end the nuclear weapons program that the regime has. In order for that to happen, the people of Iran's ongoing struggle to overthrow this regime must be recognized. And that is what the NCRI has been saying for more than 4 decades, and we're here to support that.
And we have seen consistent crackdowns on journalists, women, other issues that are happening in Iran. And what do you think is the biggest common misconception about what the U.S. might not know that is taking place on the grounds in Iran itself?
Right. Very good question. Inside Iran, and that is why NCRI is so significant, inside Iran, the Iranian resistance has a well-established organization of resistance. We call them resistance units. There are tens of thousands of these resistance units prepared to engage the regime and overthrow it. There is a well-established political organization and also on-the-ground, boots-on-the-ground infrastructure in Iran to overthrow this regime. But what is necessary is to prepare the groundwork. So that means not only pressuring the regime through sanctions, not only holding it accountable for human rights violations at the UN or globally, economic pressure on the regime, designating its IRGC as a foreign terrorist organization in Europe and beyond. Beyond that, we have to offer the political legitimacy to the Iranian opposition, to those very resistance units who are fighting the regime on the ground in Iran. Keep in mind, if it wasn't for the actual opposition on the ground, the regime in Iran wouldn't be executing as many people as it has been over the past 4 decades, and particularly since last year.
And I remember we also the Women, Life, Freedom movement that took place. How is that today? Has it changed a bit, or do you think it has evolved with the times?
I think it's evolved. It has passed certainly the motto that, and in fact, there is one woman who is 67 years old that was just convicted to death in Iran, and her primary evidence against her is that she held a sign saying, "Women, resistance, freedom." The people of Iran had long ago recognized that this regime will not fall with a foreign military intervention, and it will not, certainly will not be changing its behavior for the better. And so they have engaged the regime in a resistance movement. And Maryam Rajavi leads this opposition movement, and her leadership has been significant in energizing the women of Iran, because the regime in Iran, first and foremost, is a misogynist entity, and it feeds in persecution of women first and foremost. And so without total participation of women, the regime in Iran it cannot be overthrown, and that's why their leadership is important. And certainly women today are a big part of our panels. Women and the youth are a big part of our discussion today in this convention.
Absolutely. And what does a free Iran look like in your dream world?
Yes, it is actually outlined by the 10-point plan, a free democratic republic where the ballot box is the measure of legitimacy, where the people of Iran choose the form of government they want to have rule over them, where women are free to wear or not wear hijab, where men and women are allowed to participate in all segments of government, and women have a prominent role and their rightful place in society as the engine for a democratic future. And peace with their neighbors. Iran does not need nuclear weapons. It has all the resources. What we are asking the free world to know, that there is nothing that we need from the free world to overthrow this regime. No weapons and no money. The people of Iran can overthrow this regime, and all we need is political and moral support and recognition that the people of Iran are trying to overthrow this regime.
And at today's event, you are there, you're seeing people come in. What emotion are you seeing the most? Is it hope? Is it frustration?
It's hope. It's absolutely hope. In fact, it has been that hope that has sustained the NCRI since it was first conceived in latter part of 1981. It is not a Johnny-come-lately organization. It has been in operation and existing inside and outside of Iran for 44 years or so. And so we believe the regime in Iran is its last legs. It has no legitimacy with the people of Iran, and increasingly it is finding enemies in the global arena. And those are all positive signs for a free democratic Iran that we are hoping comes sooner or later. But we need U.S. support, political support, and for it to happen sooner, and the less of the cost to the people of Iran and to all of the people in the region.
And we saw young people leading these protests. So do you believe this generation has the potential to bring real long-term change?
Oh, without a doubt. And that's why women are, and youth really are a big part of our work today in this convention. The thing is that without the generation of young people confronting the regime, this regime wouldn't be killing as many people as it is today. Most of the people it is killing and executing and making forced disappearances of are young people, both men and women. And so that is unfortunately the cost for freedom that people of Iran are willing to pay, and we're asking the international community to support that cause.
And in your opinion, what would support from the U.S. look like in all of this?
Right. I think U.S. Congress really has outlined it and repeatedly over the past few years. A point to one resolution, House Resolution 166, is calling for recognition of the Iranian people's right to overthrow this regime. Recognition that the people of Iran are trying to overthrow this regime. Recognition that this regime is not reformable and no, it is not capable, unfortunately, even if we wanted to, capable of reforming, because its infrastructure, its DNA is misogynist, predatory, and fascist, and it is wearing Islam as a robe. That is all. And so we want the free world to know that the international community can actually help stabilize the Middle East by, first and foremost, helping the Iranian people get rid of the epicenter of fundamentalism in the world, and that is the Islamic Republic of Iran.
And how does it feel for you, sir, to have this convention in the capital of our nation and spread this message?
Yes, the shadows of America's symbol of democracy, certainly it is empowering. That is precisely why we are holding it here. It is important that to know that the NCRI has been active in shedding light on many things that the regime has done wrong, including its nuclear weapons program. It is the organization that first divulged Iran's nuclear weapons program. And so from an American perspective, I feel a sense of gratitude that they have let the world know that the regime was what it was up to in 2002, 2003, so that we could try to at least delay its nuclear weapons program. But today, we're talking about regime change, and they are leading the global struggle to overthrow this regime. They have the support of parliamentarians across the globe, Nobel laureates, and certainly a community of Iranians in the United States. And so we are happy to have the event being held here in Washington, D.C.
Absolutely, and it looks quite lively behind you there. And my last question for you would be, how would you describe the message and, the message that you want people to take home at the end of the day from this convention?
Right. I think the message is that the people of Iran have an alternative, that the free world has an alternative to this regime, that the National Council of Resistance of Iran has been divulging the many aspects of Iran's terrorism and nuclear weapons program for 4 decades for a reason. That the people of Iran want this regime to go. The people of Iran don't want this regime to have nuclear weapons. And certainly the people of Iran don't want its children being persecuted and executed and thrown off bridges and beheaded. And so for that to end, this regime has to go. And we have a coalition led by the NCRI. We have a plan by Mrs. Maryam Rajavi, and we have the resistance units inside Iran to make that happen. And we need America and the free world to support this movement.
Well, Dr. Sadeghpour, I think we learned a lot today about this convention, a really important convention taking place right here at home in D.C. in our nation's capital. So thank you again for all of that.